Would you believe if I told you that Dodge Durango sales in 2019 were up by 33% in Canada and 2.5% in the United States because of the episode we produced on the 2019 Durango GT? Okay, I'm being a little facetious, but with very minor changes last year, this 10-year-old midsize SUV is still selling really well for FCA. Our snapshot is on this 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. We're going to be going over what's different about this top-end trim, how it's configured, and everything else you need to know if you're in the market for the final year of production of this muscle car SUV. Look, I mean, as of filming this video, our 2019 GT video that we did during Snowmageddon has 190,000 views, which is actually really good for our channel. Lots of people have been watching that video. And it's partially because we did the snow review, but I think partially people just want to know more about the Durango. 2019 Canadian sales, 33% increase, 9,222 units last year over the 6,950 that were sold in 2018. The US, again smaller, but in 2019 they sold 67,590. That's up 2.5% from the 65,947 that they did in 2018. Now 2019 was the best year since 2012 for Canada. That's as far back as the reporting goes, as far as we can tell. 2005 is the best year for the Durango in the US, and that was from 2005. But Dodge has been selling 60,000 plus units in the US since 2013 onward. So it is a very popular vehicle. But if you compare it to the Grand Cherokee, the sister vehicle to this, quite a difference. In Canada, 18,659 units sold last year, so double the amount over this. And in the States, 242,969 Grand Cherokees were sold. A considerable jump in sales, making that vehicle the #1 best-selling midsize SUV in the US. So what's new for 2020 when it comes to the Durango? Not much. The SRT comes with the factory custom black appearance package that adds a midnight gray metallic paint and a gloss black exterior accent to it, along with 20 by 10-inch matte vapor rims. You also have the optional red line stripe that adds a full-length satin black center stripe with red line red accent tracers on the edges of it. The RT also gets some small additional changes. It adds the chrome Hemi badge to the front fenders, matte black on the blacktop or brass monkey appearance packages, and the premium interior group has been added. Pretty much takes some of the interior stuff from this SRT. It adds a dynamic suede headliner, hand wrap instrument panel with accent stitching from this SRT. Aside from that though, the 2019 that we featured last year has pretty much the same thing going on. Obviously though, this is the SRT, it's fully loaded. The GT that we featured last year was more of an appearance package, giving you some of the exterior design traits from this SRT, but nowhere near as much power because it had the V6 Pentastar, whereas this has the 6.4 liter Hemi V8. It produces 475 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, and it will do 0 to 100 kilometers in 4.4 seconds. Not only is that what Dodge says on paper, but we can confirm that based on the performance pages that come with this vehicle. You can see a lot of performance data. We've talked about that on some other Dodge products so far, and we have achieved that 4.4 second 0 to 100 kilometer. So this car is fast. In fact, if you watch our show every week, this is 0.3 of a second faster than the BMW X7 M40i, and that uses a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 with 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. Obviously a much heavier vehicle, but this thing can boogie. Towing capacity is a whopping 8,700 pounds with this, and the base MSRP for the SRT, $76,095. This particular vehicle has $12,805 in options. We'll go through them very quickly for you. $1,495 for the blue stripes. I think it looks pretty cool. Again, going to that SUV muscle car setup that we've got going on here. The white is a little difficult to keep clean, but I do like the striping on that. We reached out to the Canadian Mopar Owners Association. It is a group that specializes in Mopar vehicles, and about half of the people there said that they liked the stripe, half said they didn't. So what can you do? But you can configure the way that you want it. $500 for blind spot information system and rear cross traffic alert. $1,995 for the 19 speaker Harmon Kardon audio system. Comes with an 825 watt amplifier. $825 for the class 4 towing group. $950 for the Tech group. That adds active cruise control, brake assist, forward collision warning with brake assist, lane departure warning, and lane keep assist. $2,150 might be pricey and probably won't be optioned on every vehicle, but it comes with the rear entertainment system. It's a dual screen setup on either rear seat, and it also has a Blu-ray player. So if you have newer movies that you've switched over to Blu-ray, you can watch either Blu-ray or DVD. There's HDMI and regular RCA inputs. You can also control some of that from the front. Wireless headphones and a remote are included. $250 for the second row console with storage. It's a nice thing to have. There is an option to delete the third row and to have a different setup for the second row to save on weight. That is not something configured on this specific vehicle. $3,250 for the SRT Interior Appearance group. That adds carbon fiber accents, the leather dashboard, and suede headliner. So again, you can get that on the RT for this year minus the carbon fiber, and it's a little bit less. I think it was about $2,200. So you're paying about $1,000. I believe it's $995 to get the carbon fiber, which again is something you can do on the RT. Finally, the two last options on this, $95 for the red seat belts. It's a dark red color, looks kind of cool. Get it or not, and $1,295 for the Brembo brakes. Probably worth the upgrade to go with those overall. What else can I tell you about the SRT? Well, it's still in winter mode here, even though the snow has more or less melted, but it is recommended here in Quebec to keep the winter tires on until April. And honestly, I'm expecting an ice storm at the beginning of April. So we're actually running Pirelli Scorpion winter tires. These are the best winter tires you can get. These are two 95/45 R20s. Monstrous tires on here. They grip incredibly well, even though it is dry out. When you go on to the summer tires, you will have absolute performance with this vehicle, and that was something that we complained about last year with the Durango. I found that the tires on there weren't that good. I really wish I could be testing this in the snow this year, because I feel that the tires are what was killing the Durango last year, and you really can't get better than Scorpion tires from Pirelli. But that's about it that we can talk about here as I'm standing beside it. Let's jump in to this 392 cubic inch V8 monster. Let's see how it performs, handles, and everything else you need to know about the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT. The title for this video is the SUV muscle car, and we're going to be doing some performance stuff right now. Every single car that is a performance car should have a dedicated launch control button, and this one does, as well as the SRT pages. So you put your foot all the way on the brake, all the way on the gas, and then we go. Holy cow. 4.7 seconds. Now, that's with manual shifting on. I think it's a little bit better if you keep it in full automatic mode. I was able to get this car down to 4.4 seconds using launch control. Because it's so quick, you just want to let the computer do everything. There's a little bit of lag with the little computer screen here. So again, if we do launch control, foot all the way down. Oh yeah. And we'll let it do it. That was 4.5 seconds, so getting better. Yeah, maybe the temperature is not ideal and the tires haven't really warmed up completely yet, but the best I've done is 4.4 seconds. And what I absolutely love about the Dodge products that we've driven is all of the information is built into the car. You have not only fantastic data to see 0 to 100, 0 to 160 kilometers, braking distance, track times, lap times, everything can be saved and exported onto a USB. So you really have access to everything that you would really want. So I don't have to think about how quick the car was going. I don't have to tell you that I've hit 100 kilometers and then try to sync it up in post. It tells me right on the screen. And honestly, if you're driving a car like this, you want to have that information, especially if you're planning on taking it to the track. That's where this car sort of lives on a day-to-day basis, but you can still live with it on the road as well, because you want to go on the drag strip. You're going to be beating a lot of cars when it comes to the Durango SRT. I mean, 4.4 seconds is really damn quick, especially since you can fit 7 passengers in this vehicle. And you can configure it slightly differently to get rid of some of that weight. We mentioned it. You can throw the rear seats out and just have 2 seats in the back. You can save space that way and save weight. Might be an option if you want this to be a true full-on performance vehicle, but honestly, for what you get out of it, it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed my time with it. it's put a smile on my face, which it's pretty hard to do when it comes to an old vehicle, 10 years old on the marketplace now. But man, this car still performs really, really well. Now, we were in sport mode. There's tons of options within the SRT dashboard. You can put it into track mode, auto, custom. There is an eco mode. If you put the car into auto, then you can have the option for eco. And I do recommend having it in eco mode if you want to save a little bit at the fuel pumps, but then also just that the throttle response isn't as sensitive. It's something that we talked about when we did the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT versus the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. That vehicle had fantastic throttle response in sport mode, and if you aren't used to it, you'll get used to it real quick. So the first day that I had this, I kept it in automatic mode, not eco mode though. I just had it in normal auto mode, and then as I got used to the throttle response, I was able to keep it in sport mode and not be chirping the tires off the line all the time, because you can get a little silly with this vehicle, especially for the price point. Now, I do have a friend that has that SRT Jeep Grand Cherokee, and one of the things that he complained about was the exhaust on his vehicle. He's upgraded it to give it a little bit more sound. Inside the car, doesn't sound too bad, but I definitely understand why he did the upgrade. It's a 6.4 liter V8, but it doesn't sound as devilish as it really should. So I probably would recommend doing that too. Upgrade the exhaust a little bit, because the engine performance is there, and that's one of the great things about having such a massive engine. I mean, this is one of the biggest commercially available production engines you can get in a consumer vehicle. 6.4 liters. It's huge, and there are no turbos, there are no superchargers. It's a naturally aspirated V8 engine, and there's something special about having a car like that. Sure, you can go up to the SRT Trackhawk when it comes to the Grand Cherokee, and you get a supercharger on that. The rumor also is we were supposed to see a 2020 version of a Trackhawk Durango. I don't know if it's going to happen. This really should be the last year of production for this generation. We should see a new vehicle, but with everything that's going on with COVID-19, maybe we're not going to see it this year. So it might be something that we'll see in the next generation, or maybe we'll see the next generation and they'll come out with one final model year of this, like they've done with the Ram, and call it a Durango Classic Trackhawk SRT. Oh, yeah. Like, oh man, it's so good. I love that sound. I love the little blip when the exhaust gets right to the red line as you're shifting. Bloop, it sounds really good. And yeah, I mean, it feels very similar to the Durango that we drove last year. It doesn't handle as well as you would expect a $90,000 performance SUV to handle. It's not bad. The other thing too, as we mentioned at the end of our walk around, is we are on Pirelli Scorpion winter tires, so they're not the greatest when it comes to performance. They're absolutely the best when it comes to winter. As you can see on the roads here, everything's pretty much clear and dry. So you do want to have probably Michelin Pilot Super Sports on this car. Huge tires on here. They will grip a lot better. But when I say it doesn't grip and handle the same way, I mean, you still get thrown around on the inside here. The car itself will grip. It's just the inside portion, what you're feeling, is going to be a little bit more harsh than you would on some of the more true purpose-built performance vehicles like the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, or even some of the German competition, if you want to consider the X5M competition, or the Mercedes GLE 63S 4MATIC Plus to be a competitor to this. The point is, for the price though, it's hard to beat the power to performance and price ratio. It's really good. The thing is though, it's really down to what this car has to offer today, and if it feels like it's worth that price point to you. I don't think it is. Really, at $90,000, yeah, you can take off some of the options on here. You don't necessarily need to have the race stripe on here. Even the rear entertainment system, it's a nice thing to have, but it's not needed. Even the suede headliner and leather dashboard and stuff, I mean, you can save almost $10,000 by stripping out some of those features. Plus, yeah, FCA is usually pretty good when it comes to negotiating at the dealer level, but you still have incandescent bulbs for the interior lighting. There are no LED headlights, they're just xenon. You don't have quite as much tech, even though Uconnect 4 is a really good system. There's no HUD and there's not as much tech. The backup camera, pretty low quality overall. There's no 360 camera, and you can get that on a lot of smaller crossovers, especially when you think about this being 90 grand. you can get a lot more kit on other vehicles. So it really does come down to the performance. Do you want to have an SUV that's also a muscle car? There really isn't anything else out there. Everything else is precision crafted. The German vehicles feel like a scalpel, whereas this still feels like a big sledgehammer. With that race stripe, it feels like having a scope on it. So it's a little silly to have, but it really works well. And in this combination, I've been really enjoying it. I wasn't 100% sold when I first picked it up. White on blue, very Quebecois. But man, I have come to like this car. I am enjoying it, and I'm hoping that you guys will like it too. And I do see enough of the SRT Durangos out there to have made it a worthwhile venture for FCA to come out with this trim. It makes sense. Why not? I mean, this is a cousin vehicle or a sister vehicle to the Grand Cherokee. Everything fits underneath the hood. You might as well make it an option, which is why the rumors of having that Trackhawk version were so believable. But here we are. It hasn't happened yet. So we'll see. But do you really need it? Do you really need a Trackhawk Durango when this is already so good? No, you probably don't need a Trackhawk Durango, but it sure would be fun to drive it for a week. This 2020 Dodge Durango SRT completed our 100km test loop in Eco Street mode in 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers or 20.5 US miles per gallon, which wasn't that far off from the 10.9 liters per 100 kilometers we recorded last year with the Durango GT's Pentastar V6. We kept the SRT in sport mode almost exclusively during our 681km week and wrapped up with 16.1 liters per 100 kilometers or 14.6 mpg. Overall, not awful numbers considering this is a 6.4 liter V8 designed for speed. We were very thorough with our Durango GT video last year, and our likes and dislikes haven't changed since we drove it. The muscle car SUV look isn't lost with the SRT, with the design giving a throwback both to the 1999 Durango Shelby SP360 or even the original Viper RT10. The options list on the Durango is long, but gives buyers a lot of flexibility to get the exact vehicle they want, along with spacious seating for 5 or 6 with this SRT. Seating comfort was also good, with firm but supportive seating with the suede and leather mix. The performance is also seriously good. With a 4.40 to 100 km time that we actually can achieve, the Durango SRT is a proper performance SUV with the looks and results to back it up. The main concern we had with the Durango this time around came down to how dated it's starting to feel on the inside, with incandescent light bulbs, big plastic buttons, and essentially the same layout we've had since 2011. I don't doubt FCA could still sell this vehicle for another 4 years under a classic trim, but it's time we see a new generation to bring the Durango into the 2020s. The backup camera resolution was also pretty low, and the lack of a 360 option is a miss at this price. But save yourself $8,000 Canadian by skipping out on some of the frivolous options like the paint stripe, SRT Interior Appearance Package, and red seatbelts, and you're looking at an MSRP of $81,360 Canadian. That doesn't even get you in the door of the dealership for a BMW X5M or Mercedes-AMG GLE 63. So if you need to fit 6 people, get to 100 km per hour in less than 5 seconds, and spend less than $90,000, the 2020 Dodge Durango SRT is the way to go.